Hello, I wanted to create a video to show you how you can quickly and easily create your own embellishments using a few simple things. So these, I've got them on a grey cardstock. These embellishments here I created using very simple thing like our dot pens, which these are the ones I used here, a black pen, a little spray spritzer, and a dauber was all I needed. On top of that, to create the shape, I purchased this floral stencil art kit, and it was like $4 from Kmart. Like, it comes with a couple of sheets, and I think they are already adhesive, so they will stick to your cardstock. And I thought, you know what, for $4, if they don't work, they don't work. I haven't used these larger ones yet. I've only attempted it with the smaller ones, as you can see, but I'm going to show you how quick and easy this is to do. The biggest part is letting inks dry in between the steps. So let's get started. So this is the one I'm going to use. You will need a small acetate mat. Move those out the road. An acetate mat. And some white cardstock or light coloured cardstock to stencil onto. So I've also got here with me a piece of card out of one of our packs, so that when you sit your acetate mat on, it hopefully will keep your table a little bit cleaner. So you need to start by adding your stencils, I hope you can see that, to your cardstock. Now, when I first bought these, I didn't realise I was sticky on the back, but I have now realised that if you really wanted to, you could just add repositionable tape on the back if they become not sticky anymore. And I've washed them in some soapy water once, and they're still sticky. So I'm going to stick them all down and do a whole mat of them, so I have a whole heap of them. I think sometimes we look at embellishment packs, and whilst what's in there is fantastic, we don't always have enough, and that's what led me to creating these. So our next step, I'll just move that completely out the road so we don't make a mess of that. Oh, and the other thing you will need, which I missed, is a really good pair of micro tip scissors. So I have a new pair that I've only used once as a second pair for really precise fussy cutting, because that's what you'll need them for. So anyway, onwards we move on. So once you've done that, you can keep your little sheet, because you'll need that to put them back on. Pop that to one side, and we will need to start. Now I'm going to do green leaves, obviously, so I will have the two colours there ready, and you can use just the thick end of a journal pen. It will work the same, but the dot pens just allow you to apply more ink at the same, all at once. So you need to add a little bit of water to your mat, and I found these little pencil size spray bottles. Whilst they're a great size, I found that their spray is a little bit heavy. So if you hold your mat up away from you, let's see if I can do that without getting that wet. You will, let's put that underneath, because we'll try to keep everything dry so I can show you. You just really want to mist spray. I don't know whether you can see that. Not a lot of water on there. If you spray downwards, I noticed when I did these other ones yesterday, that you get just a big clump. So, but spraying away like that seems to work a whole lot better. So, all right, now we're going to Make sure we're dry. Apply some ink. So I think I might start with a lighter colour first. Just apply it close to where some of that water is. We can blend it in. And what the water does is it stops your ink from drying out too quickly and makes it pliable. And luckily I was taught this technique by Noreen Smith in one of her videos, and I've loved it ever since. So it's a matter of just your small sponge or dauber picking up some of that ink. See if you, lovely squeaky noise. And taking it over to your stencil and just applying it as thickly as you would like. Now you can make it really thick, or you can make it really thin. Like I think some of them I did quite thick and others I just gave a really light shade. So totally up to you how you do it. I think I might keep that a little bit lighter. And you can get some great effects by doing that. You can see that it's quite speckled, which is really cool. So it's just a small amount. And you just need to keep going until you have completely inked every portion on your sheets. And then we just want it to dry. So just keep going until you've got it all done and let it dry. So I'll go ahead and do that. Make sure you do quite a great array of colours, and we'll come back to you after it's all dried and we'll show you the next step. The big thing is, whilst it's drying, don't take your stencil off, because you'll need it attached to your paper for the next step. So instead of you watching me do this, I'll go ahead and do it, and then we'll come back to you. Okay, I've gone ahead and I've inked all of my stencil pieces. And as you can see, they're still drying, so we don't want to go on to the next step yet. But as you can see, you can get some really cool effects like this light green and variegated sort of colouring on top. And I've done that with some of the leaves over here. But I think the key things you want to remember is to not rub. You want to dab. Exactly what a dauber does is you want to keep dabbing. And make sure you try to cover all the areas of the stencil so no cardstock is showing through, so it becomes completely covered. So once that dries, our next step before lifting the stencils off is to use the fine tip end of a journal pen, and I've chosen black because I think it stands out really well, and go around all the edges of your template, your stencil. And so you go right around all the edges. So we'll let that dry, then we'll go around the edges, and we'll come back and we'll show you at the point where we're lifting the stencils off on where we go from next. Okay, now our ink has dried. We're going to go, and you can see I've already done a lot of them using a fine tip pen. I chose black because I think it stands out better. Is to just go around all the edges of your stencils before you lift them. That way it'll give you a defined edge to fussy cut near, but I think it also gives you a completed embellishment. So once you have gone around all of them, and I'm nearly finished, then what we're going to do is we're going to lift the templates off and clean our cardstock up a little bit. Make sure you fill in those, like if you have a gap like you just saw I had, make sure you fill those in so you don't have any negative space there. And then we're going to fussy cut around each piece. Now, things like these leaves that I'm doing here, you wouldn't want to cut them out in sections. So I just followed the line of the leaf when I did the first ones. And then to just give me a leaf shape. But besides that, it is fairly simple. I would not suggest you do these embellishments if you don't like fussy cutting, because there is a lot of it. I sat in front of the TV with a little bin and a little bowl to put them in. So make sure, you know, you are happy to do that. The other thing I highly recommend is a really good pair of precision point scissors, because you need that for the accuracy and to make it easier to cut. So I have a second pair of the Creative Memory scissors for that, because I think they cut so well. And because I'm doing this a little bit far away, I think there's a couple of spots there that like this one here, I've got away from the edge a little bit. But, you know, if you do that, just keep going, because nobody will know. I think, you know, those little details are not going to really matter. Last one. And then we're ready to peel them away. So just make sure you peel it straight off. Now some of your little bits may have bled slightly, but I even in the first one I did, I found that didn't really matter either. I don't think that's really a big deal. Just looking for my sheet to where I put it all. Here we go. Should have had that already ready. And you can see it sort of leaves a little bit of residue behind, but if you wipe it away, you will get rid of that. Next one. And I will wash these off shortly. Just some water was all I needed to wash them off previously. And you can see a couple of them have bled a little bit, so you might want to get a little bit closer to your line when you cut them. They're the last ones I did. And I actually inked these a couple of days ago because I haven't finished the video off because we've had lots and lots of rain. So to cut them out, you just need, I just went through and I fussy cut one at a time. Where's my bin? I'll get that later. So, like I say, you just need to keep it close to your black line and just follow the lines around. Try to keep going if possible. And try to keep your edges from being sharp. Keep them quite rounded. And as I said, it is time consuming. So I don't know whether you can see that, but there's my first one. And I think they'll look pretty great. So I'll keep going through and cutting these out until I've got them all done. But you enjoy making yours. Thank you.